In this video, Otto and I fly to Okeechobee County Airport to visit the landing strip for a spot of breakfast. Then we refuel the plane, Otto does an impression of a cockerel, and I fly us back to Orlando. Welcome to Okeechobee County Airport, a quaint aviation hotspot open to both general aviation and commercial traffic. It offers a comfortable FBO, which is home to the Okeechobee Jet Center, as well as a pilot planning area and the infamous Landing Strip Cafe, which offers a plentiful array of breakfast items served from 7 AM until 2 PM daily, all amidst a cozy aviation-themed dining room with views over the ramp. I opted for the co-pilot breakfast, which consisted of bacon, sausage, eggs, and a biscuit. And Otto had baby chickens with spuds. After our early morning nourishment, we headed back over to the Skylane to begin our journey back to Orlando.
There you go. Right. Start. Seat track back. Avionics off.
Yeah.
Autopilot off.
Yes.
Static pressure off.
Yes.
Cowl flaps open. Throttle, 1/4 inch. Prop, high RPM. Mixture, full lean.
Yeah.
Brakes.
Yeah.
Prop.
Yeah. Oh, done. Alright, well this is a little bit different. As you probably realised in most of my videos at this point, the propeller noise and the ambient noise goes down and then the cockpit audio kicks in. However, on this particular occasion, when we changed the batteries for the different leg, we didn't reconnect the audio cable. We do spot this in the flight, so the last portion of this video will have cockpit audio. The first half won't, so I'm here to guide you through the ins and outs of the beginning portion of this flight. So let's get cracking. So the headsets are on, and obviously we're none the wiser with regards to the audio. We've just gone through the startup, and at this point now we are plugging in a few waypoints into the GPS so that we can couple it with the Garmin 275s, and then we can set the autopilot to follow that nav, just to make things a little easier. And we've began to taxi now, which is useful. Otto's still going through the checklist just to make sure we've got all things taken care of. Just making sure everything looks good before we start heading out. Otto here is pointing at a Piper Archer that seems to be using the only runway at the airport that has got a prevailing tailwind. We were going to use runway 05, which is the runway that favoured the winds. And 14, which is the one this other guy was using, sort of messed things up a little bit, but we'll talk about that again in a second. So just made a radio call here to say that we're going to go onto the active taxiway, make a right hand turn over to runway 05, where we will do a run up. And here we're questioning the guy onto why he's using 14, and I don't think we got a response. I think he realised that 14 wasn't the appropriate runway and decided to ignore us. And it was a CFI as well, which is a little disappointing. How do we know he's a CFI? Because we saw him get back in the plane with another person. That's thunder. With another person, and he was wearing epaulettes. Alrighty, so there we go, onto the taxiway. now coming up where we're going to swing it back round so that we can do the run up. So making sure the parking brake is set. Making sure the fuel is on both and the trim is set, and we're checking the flight controls. This goes up, that goes down, this goes up and down, up and down. And testing the annunciator panel. Checking the engine instruments and the flight instruments. Increasing the throttle and doing a mag check. All seems good. Now we're checking the prop, so we're going to look for a rise in manifold pressure, going to look for a drop in oil pressure, going to look for a drop in RPMs, and then of course we're going to look outside to make sure that there's no oil on the windscreen that's come from the hub. Otherwise we have a bit of a problem. And then the usual checks again, just making sure that everything's running okay. Obviously we don't check the vacuum because it doesn't have a vacuum system. Doing an idle check, making sure it doesn't die. And then we're just checking our frequencies and making sure that we're all set to go. And I'm leaning it out here, just as we're standing around not doing a lot. And the problem is here, we end up waiting around for a while because of that guy that was taking off on runway 14. So time lapse here, the guy that's on 14, if you imagine 14 and 05, his left downwind is directly in our upwind path. And then of course when he's landing, he's on an intersecting runway, so we had to basically wait until he had touched down and cleared his active runway before we could even leave. And I think we were on the ground maybe for about 7 or 8 minutes at this point, just waiting for him. It was a real nuisance. We had incoming traffic on 05, and we had other departing traffic all wanting to use 05, so yeah, beats me. Here we go, we're getting ready for the takeoff. And making sure that the mixture's full rich, props full forward, making sure that the transponder's squawking altitude at 1200. Turning on to 05. Making sure we've got 5 on the compass, 5 on the DG, and one last check, and then off we go. It's all very exciting. Alright, full throttle's applied. Lots and lots of right rudder because of the additional horsepower. And there we go, rotating. And trimming for that really heavy nose, and then of course here we go, up and up we go. I mean, the climb rate on that thing's absolutely amazing. I think we were getting just over 1,000 feet per minute at 80 knots. And there we go, on the upwind. Checking the engine instruments, making sure everything's still in the green. And then at 600 feet, I believe we make our left-hand turn onto crosswind. And then I make a radio call to say that we are going to be departing the area to the north. 1,000 feet coming back off the power. We're looking for 23 inches of manifold pressure and 2400 RPM, even in the climb. Alright, fast forward into a slightly less of a climb. We're trying to set the autopilot, which is a fantastic autopilot. You can actually set the vertical speed per minute. So it has altitude pre-select, but you can also set it to indicated airspeed. So if you're worried about maybe climbing at too high of an angle and your airspeed dropping, you can ask it to climb at 90 knots and it will find the perfect pitch for that speed. And now we're leveling off in cruise, so I'm coming back off the power. Again, 23 inches of manifold, 2400 on the RPM. Once you lean it out, then of course you can start messing with the prop and bringing that back to 24 RPM, and you can hear a dip in the prop, and then you get a lovely cruise speed. I think we were getting about 125 to 130 knots ground speed on this flight, which is not bad, to be honest. And that was with a headwind. So here we are, we're in cruise now, and we're obviously talking about something remarkably important. We had a lot of really great banter on this flight as well. It's a shame that it didn't get picked up. We were talking about that 141 instructor. We were talking, I think I talked about how I've successfully managed to sew a button onto my shorts. We were talking about planes in general, the aviation industry as a whole. I think here I'm looking intensely at my gauges to make sure that we're at the correct power settings. It's the one thing when you're flying with an autopilot, I tend to want to rest my arm over on the dash, because there isn't a lot to really do other than monitor and make fine adjustments. It's a great way to fly if you're doing cross countries. Alright, we're leaning it out here. Closing the cowl flaps, being very careful to lean it out. You can use the cylinder head temperatures for this, but we can also, Otto's dancing, but we can also use the fuel flow. So I'm doing it in very small increments to get it down to about 8 to 10 gallons per hour. But obviously got to make sure that you don't start to end up with engine roughness. Feathering the prop here. To get it down to 2400 RPM, and there we are, we're all nice and settled in the cruise, as confirmed by my hands up motion. Not sure why he's shaking his head. And we fast forward here to further along in the flight, continuing to talk about this, that and everything. As I said, we had great banter on this flight, and it really is a shame. It just seems that the last few videos I've done, there's been a technical glitch of some description. Otto's pointing at something, not sure what. And now we're probably talking about aerodynamics of a Coke bottle. I have a massive sneeze, which obviously startled Otto. It's not COVID, don't panic. Now I'm doing an experiment with the microphone. We'd actually switched headsets at this point, because when we landed we didn't bother switching them around. So I'm wearing his and he's wearing mine, so sorry Otto, I think I sneezed on your headset. Again, I appear to be talking about something remarkably important here, as indicated by the hand movements. Now pointing at his Coke bottle. Really is riveting stuff. Checking the... Oh, I know what we're talking about here. I was talking about the Bose A20s and how the clothing clips keep breaking on mine. And here we go. Here's Otto. Look at the expression on Otto's face. He's just realised that the audio cable's not plugged in, and he's pointing it out to me, and then I realise. And he thinks it's hilarious, because for once it didn't happen to him. Now I'm contemplating what to do, and then I shut the camera off. And at this point we'll jump back into the cockpit and pick up the cockpit audio and resume the flight over to Orlando.
It works that doesn't. Anyway, we just realised that the audio wasn't plugged in. The audio wasn't plugged in.
F***ing office all hours. Open all hours.
So I hope you enjoyed that very, very brief flight, which consisted just of voiceover, my
Yes.
voice over the top. Bloody hell.
We spoke about a lot of good shit as well.
What did we speak about? Well, first of all, we had difficulty getting out of the airport because a flight instructor thought that runway 14 was the best option, despite the fact that the 14 was the only
Sorry, I was right. No.
14 was the only one with a tailwind. And then I went on to the point that even though I have a huge appreciation for CFIs and their achievements, just because you wear epaulets doesn't mean that you're better than everybody else.
Yes, he was a lot nicer about it earlier, but now he's pissed off and he's just going to get straight to the point. Oh man.
Well, that's really annoying. Anyway, so how far away are we from Orlando now? About 18 minutes. 22 nautical miles. Oh, well, we've wasted a bit of time then, haven't we? Well, so takeoff, voiceover, la la la. So we had difficulty getting out, which was a nuisance.
Yes. Yeah, we had difficulty getting it. Did you already explain that?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so we were taking off, you know, as you did, you full power pull. Well, we weren't taking off at this point actually. A bad start to the story. I've led you into a false sense of security there, if you felt secure at all. Anyway, we were holding short of what runway was at 05, and some guy in his epaulets decided that although the wind was blowing more or less down runway 05, he wanted to take off on runway 14, which was probably the least favourable runway given the wind. So yes, so that happened, and then we took off. And what else happened after that?
Spoke about A20s.
Spoke about A20s,
Oh, I think they're the best.
and I think they're the best too. They do come with their flaws.
Yeah, I need to replace the clips on mine. And they're a little bit scruffy. I've already had to replace the ear cups
Yes.
once. I do get some use out of them though.
Yeah.
Advise on initial contact. You have information, Charlie. Orlando Executive Airport information, Charlie. Time 1 tree, 5 tree Zulu. Wind tree 00 at 6. Visibility 10. Sky conditions 2000 scattered. Temperature tree 0, dew point 24. Altimeter tree 018. Visual approach runner 7 in use. Clearance delivery combined on ground control frequency 121.4. Caution bird activity in the vicinity.
No, it's busy.
Not necessary. Traffic very short final. You are number 2, runway 7, cleared, touch and go.
Number 2, clear, touch and go. Is there, can I do the short approach then?
6 Hotel, November 6 Hotel Foxtrot, affirmative, short approach approved.
Approach approved, thank you very much. 6 Hotel Foxtrot.
Exact tower, Skylane 24658, about 12 miles to the southeast with Charlie inbound for a full stop.
Skylane 24658, Orlando Executive Tower, continue northbound for an extended left downwind to runway 7.
Northbound for an extended downwind left traffic for runway 7, 468.
We should be good on this heading. I don't see why not.
Yeah, that would give us a fairly extended left downwind, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to go forward, prop pull forward, mixer full rich.
Cool.
Landing light is on.
Alrighty.
But I'm just going to disconnect everything.
Cherokee 724 Alpha on course is approved. Just remain outside that magical class Bravo.
On course approved.
Magical class Bravo.
So you're saying I can't fly over Disney?
Skylane 658, you are number 1, runway 7, clear to land.
First nooch.
Huge. Barn door.
Stage of barn door.
Cherokee 724 Alpha, frequency change approved, and see ya.
Frequency change approved, 724 Alpha. Thank you, see you later.
Mr. 4 Juliet Kilo, ground point 4.
Ground point 4, 734 Juliet Kilo.
God, it's hot.
It is horrible, isn't it?
Check Tower 265 Hotel, radiant sequence, hold short 7.
265 Hotel, exec tower, stand by.
I like as soon as she called U-turn.
Cessna 770, you're number 2, following Skylane traffic, 1 mile left base, runway 7, clear to land.
Number 2, clear to land, runway 7, looking for the Skylane.
What?
Oh, let's go full barn door.
Okay, now.
Sector Tower, 733 Yankee to beam the numbers, runway 7.
Cessna 0 Yankee, extend downwind, I'll call you base.
Downwind, you'll call my base, 733 Yankee.
Cessna 6 Hotel Foxtrot, midfield, make, actually midfield, plan to make 2 right 360s. I've got a couple departures and arrivals.
Make right 360, 6 Hotel Foxtrot.
Cessna 658, ground point 4.
Ground point 4, thanks for your help, 658. Exact ground, Skylane 24658, Alpha 6 for Atlantic, please.
For 568, exec ground taxi via Bravo.
Via Bravo to Atlantic, 658. Got the rest? You got the rest, yeah?
Yeah, just taxi light and landing light. Strobes go off. Oh my god.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, concludes our flight from Okeechobee to Orlando. I hope you've enjoyed it. Just a quick reminder, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. If you aren't subscribed, please do so. And don't forget to click that bell so that you are notified every time I upload a video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.